FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls. Welcome to the Best of Beaver County, presented by St. Barnabas, a weekly segment dedicated to putting the focus on the amazing things and the amazing people behind them in Beaver County. The Best of Beaver County is sponsored by and content is provided by St. Barnabas. The show airs every Thursday from 11 to 11:30 on WBVP, WMBA, 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live. Now, with no further ado, let's welcome host Mike Romai to introduce today's program.
I'm Frank Sparks in for Mike Romai, and today on the Best of Beaver County, our guest is none other than Gary Miller and Gary Miller Painting. So we're going to learn about him over the next half hour and learn about painting, and maybe we'll give us some tips on like picking colors and things like that. So we're going to have some fun for the next half hour talking about painting. And with that, let's say good morning to Gary. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Frank. Good morning, Beaver County. Nice to be here. My pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate you coming in.
Well, thank you so much. It's good to talk to everybody over here.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and, where you grew up and where you went to school.
Okay. Well, I'm actually a Shaler graduate, graduated from Shaler Township, 1978. And we grew up in the North Hills of Pittsburgh, married 40 years. I have been painting. A little story about my painting.
Okay.
I've been painting for 51 years, and you probably look at me and you go, wow, 51 years, that's forever. I was 14 years old, Frank. I had my favorite uncle and favorite aunt call me one night. They call my mom and they say, hey, we would love to have Gary come over and stay with us for the summer. And Frank, I'm thinking, wow, this is wonderful. Okay, no mom, no dad. I'm going to come and stay with my favorite aunt and uncle. And I had 6 cousins. I'm really thinking fun. So they lived on the other side of Pittsburgh, over in the Crafton area. And I get ready. They pick me up that night. I go over to their house. I'm very excited. About 5:30 the next morning, knock on the door. And it's my uncle, who is a painter, and I'm getting up to go work with him. I had no idea.
And they never told you.
That's how I got into painting.
Okay.
So 51 years ago, I was 14. I apprenticed with him for like 4 summers. It was great, and got to learn the trade that way. So have done it pretty much ever since. I did it for a period of my time. It was kind of a side gig back when side gigs weren't popular.
Right.
I would do it always as a spare time job for us when we were first married, et cetera. And worked in the corporate world, worked in the sales world. And then it just got to the point where I had a job that they moved the business out of town, and I didn't want to do that. And so I said, okay, great. I'm going to go into the painting full time. I really enjoy, even 51 years later, I thoroughly enjoy painting. I like going to work every day. So it's a weird thing. I just thought, I'm going to do it because it's something I like. And so I started doing it full time. I have never turned back.
What year was that, full time?
Oh, gosh, that was 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
After all these years of doing everything kind of but that, just doing it as a side gig, I came home one day and said to my wife, well, they're going to move our business. I was working in the insurance field at that time in a corporate kind of setting. And I said, I'm not going. They were moving it to North Dakota. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to North Dakota. I'm going to give this a shot full time. And it worked out. And again, I get up every morning now and enjoy doing it. What job? You are probably in the same boat. It's why you come here.
Right.
And I just feel really, I'm so happy you let me come in today. I live in Zillionople, so I'm literally a mile outside the Beaver County border.
Right.
I have a facility in Beaver County. We paint in Beaver County. I love Beaver County, So it's a pleasure to just talk to people from Beaver County.
So how'd you fall in love with painting, though? I mean, if that beat on the door and you're getting thrown to go to work to paint, for me, I'd be like, oh, man, really? I don't want to do this no more, but you fell in love with it.
Absolutely. You know, it was so funny when I first started doing it. It was a very tenuous job. Back then it was enamel paints, and it was a lot more work. I mean, the painting world has revolutionized a lot more in the last 51 years, but it was a tedious job. Yet this uncle was my favorite person in the world. He was like a father to me, and he really took me under his wing, taught me everything. What I liked the most about it, and I still like it to this day, Frank, it's why I get up, is I like that end result. I like to be able to see what I'm doing, and to me, you know, maybe I'm not the most patient person in the world or something. And so I love to be able to, the tangible of being able to touch it, do it, see the instant results. It makes me feel great. And my clients, we're really blessed. We end up with such wonderful clients. And, you know, they get so excited about it's a big thing to, you know, to some of these people to have your house. It changes your whole aspect of life if you pick the right color, and you know you've had your house for so many years and you haven't done this, and so we really play off of that. I love the fact that my clients thoroughly enjoy what we're doing, so it makes it fun. I have 4 girls that work for me. 4 female employees.
Oh, that's the best, man, because they're the most meticulous.
They are the most meticulous. Yeah. They understand colors. They are just such hard workers. We get along so well. We've known each other for such a long time. It just makes work really fun. I always say to my wife, the day it isn't fun, I'm going to retire. And I don't think I'm anywhere near there. I look forward to going to work every day.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that's the greatest aspect of it.
Take us through the process of, I'm going to call you and I'm going to say, Gary, I want to have the interior of my house painted. Take us through the process of how you go about helping that person, how you work together and pick colors, and just the whole process of it all.
Okay. Well, first of all, as with most painters, I give free estimates. The thing that I think separates me from maybe some of the other contractors in the field is that if you call me, I'm going to get back to you within 24 hours. You know, I don't know about yourself, Frank, but I've called everything from plumbers to electricians to and I never get a return phone call.
Absolutely.
It just happens all the time, every aspect of it. And so I really, that's something that I just can't stand. And I make sure that if you call me, I am going to get back to you within 24 hours. So I call the client back. I set up a convenient time for them that I can go out and give the quote. The quote is free. That's what I always say to people. It never hurts to get a quote at least because, you know, at least you have a ballpark figure of what it's going to take to renew your home. It really does. And so I set up a time with them. I'll go out. We talk about what needs done. And I'm not the guy that it doesn't have to be this massively big job. We're very, you know, we could do one room. There are some smaller type jobs that we do, and we're good with doing that. Or we can do massive jobs, and I'll get into that, where we do even commercial painting. But I sit down, I talk to the client, I find out exactly what they want to do. And it's not just, you know, you don't just pick a color. You're going to live with this. Every day, you're going to get up and look at those walls. And if you don't like them, you're probably not going to like me, and you're not going to like life. You know,
right.
So if you pick the wrong color,
I'm not going to call you again.
That's right. You know, so
right.
It's super important to have the time to sit there and say, okay, what do you want to have done? Does it involve the ceilings, the walls, the trim, or every aspect of that? In most instances, I tell people if we're out there, it's not so much more to do the ceiling and the trim. Let's do it so you don't have to call me back in 10 years and redo it. So we'll go over that. Then as far as the paint colors, I personally, I do a lot of work through Sherman-Williams.
Okay.
But we have many manufacturers in the area. I'm from PPG to Behr to Valspar, and so there's a lot of paints that are out there and a lot of colors that are out there. But I know pretty much every color. 51 years, you'd be surprised. I know them all from every manufacturer. I've seen them all. I've seen them on the walls. So people will tell me generally what their idea is. Okay, I want to go with a gray. Well, there are 200 different colors of grays.
Right.
And when you're picking any paint, probably the biggest variable in whether you're going to like your decision or not is lighting. Incandescent lighting has a dramatic effect on paint colors and pigments.
That's interesting.
So it's an aspect of if your room's going to be only incandescent lighting and it has no natural light, then there are certain paints and colors and pigments that you might want to avoid.
What about the furniture in the room?
Absolutely. The next thing, the accessories.
Okay.
So that's furniture, accessories. That all plays an aspect in it too. So it's not a matter of just picking a color. When I walk into a room and I'm talking to a client about it, there are several aspects that work in my thought process of what I think, where I want to lead them a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then I'll let the client do it from there. You also don't have to jump on a decision of a paint color. It's more of we can put samples on the wall. You can go to Sherwin-Williams or any paint supplier, and they'll give you little cards you can put up on the wall. There are little sample paints you can put on the wall. Sometimes you want to do that and give it a few days and look at it at night, at day. What does it look like? Are there any parts of it that's changing? There are bases to paint and there are pigments to paint. Sometimes in certain lighting, again, the base will change. So I tell people, don't be in a hurry. Take a few days and take a look at it. That usually works so well for me. The other end of that is we will get into big settings. Sometimes they're commercial jobs. Sometimes they're large houses. And there's a lot of different aspects involved, and people don't feel comfortable making the decision themselves. I do have access to a very good color consultant. She's a professional that all she does is go to settings and takes everything in. She's a professional. She has a degree in it, and she will look at it and give you every idea of what you want to pick and what manufacturer you want to pick. And so she's a professional. She doesn't work for me. She works for herself, but I put you in touch with her. And that is usually, it is such a big aid. I use her quite often, and my clients are really happy with that. And they just take care of it with her.
So how do you decide if you want a flat, semi-gloss, a satin? How do you decide all that?
Yeah, that's another aspect of it, Frank. And that's why I say to people, painting is so much more than picking a brush up or running a roller across the wall. That's really just the last thing you do. And sheens, as you say, are an important part of that. I mean, there's everything from flat to matte to eggshell to satin to semi-gloss to gloss. And that's the realm of it. But what plays a part in that is, first of all, each sheen reflects light differently. So if you don't want a lot of reflective light, which might dramatically brighten the room up, then you probably would go with a flat or a matte finish, because they're going to actually draw the light in, absorb more light. They're not going to reflect the light. But if you have a room that is a little dark, you don't have a lot of lighting in it, you don't get any natural light, then that aspect is you might want to go with an eggshell or a satin as your minimum sheen. The other part of that is, Frank, that the lower in sheen you go, the less wipeable
I was going to ask you about
the paint is.
Okay.
And so that's huge. We have a lot of clients that have dogs, grandchildren, young kids. You
want to stay away from the flats at that point.
That's right. You're not going with a flat or an eggshell.
Gotcha.
It's or a flat or a matte. You're going to go with an eggshell or a satin, because that way, it's very wipeable. All the paints that I use, the Sherwin-Williams lines of paints I use, but also all the other manufacturers. Once you get to that, that eggshell and satin realm of the sheen, it becomes very wipeable. You can use magic eraser on them. So it really works out well if you have young children, grandchildren, pets, that type of thing.
Okay.
So that's usually...
What do the majority of your houses or your clients, what do they use? Is it like a...
70 to 80% of my clients use satin. And if you think about it, eggshell it has a little bit of a sheen to it because it's called eggshell because if you pick an egg out of your refrigerator and look at it, eggs always have a little bit of shine to their surface. So either an eggshell or a satin has some sheen to it, some shine to it. They reflect the light well. They won't absorb a lot of light. They're very wipeable. So they just, most of my clients, like I say, almost 80% of them will go with a satin. And I use it even in my own home, you know. And like I say, you can use a magic eraser on it. It's wipeable. When you get into the semi-gloss, we'll use semi-gloss on baseboards, trims, doors, things that are going to take a beating. Baseboards, everybody hits them with their vacuum cleaner.
Right.
So they've got nicks and marks all over them. You want to be able to wipe those down easily. Doors, the same thing, of course, doorknobs, putting fingerprints everywhere. So we use a semi-gloss on that. You can use a high gloss. Some people will use that, maybe for cabinetry, etc.
Gotcha.
Where you want a hard finish, a hard tack type of finish, it would work.
Okay.
So,
we are visiting this morning with Gary Miller from Gary Miller Painting, and he is the best of Beaver County this week. We're going to take a short break, and we will be back with more right after this.
I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
And we're back here on the Best of Beaver County. Gary Miller from Gary Miller Painting is our Best of Beaver County. We're talking painting, and we hit the interior. So we talked about colors. What about flooring, like whether it's carpet or hardwood floor? Like I have a darker hardwood floor in my house, so I probably would want to go with a different color compared to somebody that has maybe a lighter carpeting.
Well, that's right too, Frank, because, in the past, in the painting world, most floors were carpeted. Mm-hmm. So that was a pretty easy, you look at the color of the carpet, now you can pick a color for it. In the, what I call floating floor world,
right.
The Pergo world, when that first came out 10, 15, 20 years ago, there was really, you just had like a couple colors. Now they have customized it so much.
You would think my floor in my house is actual wood floor.
Yes, it is amazing. And they also have put, there are literally 50 to 70 colors out there in that floating flooring that you can get. And that also is another variable. So it comes back to my aspect of you don't just walk in a house and say, okay, here's a couple colors I'd like you to try. It's much more involved because, like I say, you're going to live with it every day. So that flooring is just another thing that plays a part in your decision in making what paint color you're going to go with, and whether it works with that day in and day out. Because and again, it comes back to me saying, let's put a sample on the wall. Let's try this for a few days because daylight versus nighttime, when you just have a few accent lights on, right. Things look different. Your floor looks different. Your curtains look different. Your pillows look different. So that's a big part of it. And I really want my clients to be happy. We get tons of return customers. I don't want you to be a return customer 5 years later because you hate the color of the paint.
I was going to ask you, what's the longevity of a paint job usually?
On an interior job, very good. Most paints today, painting has become very technical. So they have engineered paints to last a long period of time. They hold up so much better than they did in prior years. So as far as longevity of an interior paint, you can get 20 years, you can get quite a long time out of the paint using the right paint. And I'll get into that in a moment.
Okay.
There's different grades of paint. And of course that makes a difference. But so, I want you to pick the right color that you feel that you're going to be comfortable for a long period of time, because these paints, they will last. They are engineered to do that. And you've noticed over the years that the price of paint has gone from, it's gotten up there, and some of that aspect is because all the manufacturers have spent a dramatic amount of time engineering these paints. And it not just the pigments, but the basis of the paint. The base of the paint is what makes the paint hold up over time.
Is everything water-based now, or are they still have oil-based?
There are some oil-based paints out there, but
Okay.
basically everything is water-based.
Gotcha.
And to kind of get into that a little bit so there are different grades to paint in every manufacturer. I'll just give you in the Sherwin-Williams world that I work in a lot. They have contractor grade paints. And the reason they make those is some contractors will include those in their pricing for their job because they're pretty low price points. But in that aspect, because of the paints being so engineered now, and there's a health aspect to it, Frank. So all paints, all chemicals in the paint world have to meet the strict EPA requirements, and they actually meet the California EPA requirements, because years ago the state of California they were very strict in their environmental laws.
Right.
And so paint manufacturers figured it out over time. Well, we're not going to make paints for the rest of the country and make paints for California. So they just meet those California standards. And then that way everything is, So paints have compounds in them, materials in them, of course, that make up the bases and the pigments of the paint. One aspect and one measurement of that is VOC, it's called. You can look on the back of a can, it'll tell you the VOCs, and that stands for volatile organic compounds. And those are the materials in a paint that may not be good for you. In the past, we never measured those, but now we're much smarter, and we measure those because of the inhalation factor. And we have a lot of population has asthma, emphysema, COPD is very prevalent now. And then you have pregnant women. And so these people shouldn't be inhaling things that are long-term not good for their lungs. And just because you open a can of paint up and you smell it sometimes and you go, wow, that smells. Yeah, okay, that aspect of it, you have an inhalant factor, but you're also putting this on your wall, keeping it there for a long period of time. You're basically inhaling that environment every day. So it's incumbent to make sure that you pick a healthful paint too. So in every manufacturer's aspect, the lower end paints are the reason they're priced at that point is they have a lot more VOCs to them, volatile organic compounds. You would
find like at a big box store?
That you will find some of the big box stores. Every paint manufacturer has good grades of paint and excellent grades of paint, but they also have some that are contractor grade paints.
Gotcha.
And therefore they're not as healthful for you. When I quote a job, I quote it including the paint, and I quote it including paints that are 0 VOC. The paint that we include in all our pricing is Sherwin-Williams Super Paint. It's a very good grade of their paint. We include it free in all our paint jobs. The reason I do that is I want people, A, to be healthful.
Right.
B, I like to use the better grades of paint. It makes my job a little easier.
Yeah.
For a small nominal upgrade, it about $15 a gallon in my world, we can put you at the best paint that Sherwin-Williams makes. Holds up better, lower VOC. It has no VOCs also, as the Super Paint does. But so that's how it kind of works. We that's the part that you don't see, but it's best to take a look at that. And all VOCs are marked on the back of the label of every paint can. It's a requirement from the EPA in the country.
All right, the last couple minutes we have about 4 minutes left. We talked about interiors.
Yes.
What about exterior?
Exteriors, pretty much the same way. There are good and bad grades of paint. I use on all my exterior jobs a paint called Sherwin-Williams Latitude, extremely well-engineered paint, very temperature tolerant. So it can be used in temperatures, very low temperatures. It can be used in very high temperatures. They did this to make sure that they could, Arizona, for instance, you're painting in very humid, hot climates. So it can be used. And that aspect of it makes it very good because of the adhesion process. When you paint outside, painting, you have humidity in the air. Whatever moisture is in the air is going to affect the adhesion of the paint on the surface. And so I make sure that I use a paint that has a great adhesion quality, hence the one that I do use from Sherwin-Williams. We do every aspect of exterior painting that there is, and we do everything from commercial jobs. We can spray. We have 5 sprayers in our inventory. We can do anything, any size job, exterior or interior.
Are there different styles of paint you should use, whether you have vinyl siding, aluminum siding, wood siding, whatever?
Thanks for asking.
Grades?
That's great. So a lot of people don't realize that you can paint your vinyl siding. We do a lot of it. And it turns out great. If you want to go out and buy new siding, it's outrageously expensive. We can paint it, and there's a vinyl component, an adhesion component that they add to the paint that is specifically made for vinyl siding. Works out terrific. It looks as good as the day the siding was made, and it saves you a bundle. And so, that's absolutely right. And there are paints that work for every type of material, from wood to aluminum to metal doors, et cetera. And that would be another whole show, Frank. But there's a
I know we're already almost gone through a half hour, and we're just getting started here. So what makes Gary Miller painting different from other painters?
What makes me different, I think, is as a contractor. But everybody wants to do a good job, but I treat your house as my house. And maybe other contractors will say that, but when I leave, I want to be proud of the job I did, just like it's my own place. I'm very proud of my workers. I have excellent workers, and we have literally made friends and have so many repeat customers. We feel so blessed. We end up with such good clients. It's kind of my reason. I was so happy when you said, come on in today, because Beaver County is the same type of people. I always say, if you travel the country and you go anywhere in the United States, people can pick you up. They know you're a Western Pennsylvanian because of your dialect, and then they'll say to you, where you're from in that, and Western Pennsylvanians are such friendly people. We're just known for that. We're good folk. I think Beaver County is like the heart of that, right?
All right.
I mean, you live and work in Beaver County.
Yep.
Beaver County people are kind of like family. It's like everybody knows everybody. They're just good people, and so that's why I enjoy painting for people in Beaver County.
So if people would like to get a hold of you, get an estimate, and utilize their services, how can they do that?
Okay, great. My personal cell phone number, you will actually get me, is 724-553-0937. I will either pick the phone up or I will call you back within 24 hours and make sure I return that call to you. Also, if they mention the radio station or St. Barnabas or anything connected with you, I'll give them a 15% discount right off the top. So the paint is included in the price.
So if I call you tomorrow and I say, Gary, I want you to come out. I heard you on Beaver County Radio.
Yes.
15% off.
15%, and that's off I'll give you the price, plus at the bottom, you'll see the discount.
All right.
So I don't hide anything in there. We just want to help the listeners. We were so pleased that you invited us to come in. And that's a bonus we're going to give starting today.
All right.
Just mention us.
You got a website or anything, or Facebook page or anything like that?
I do advertise on Facebook. I don't have a website. Sorry.
Hey, that's old school. A lot of people like that. You got to pick up. I'm old school like that. I love to pick up a phone and call somebody.
I want you to call me, and I want to be able to get back to you and come out and see you. And I'm a more direct person that way, and I want you to like us. And I'm not out to, Frank, some people, I think what makes us a little bit different also, I like to keep busy. I'm a guy that likes to keep busy, so I don't need to make a bundle on every job. I want to make the pricing so that you do the work you want to do and enjoy your house. And the holidays are coming up, Frank.
Right.
Lots of people, think, oh boy, I'm sick of the dining room, sick of the kitchen. We're going to put the tree up in the living room, and that same paint color's on there. Hey, give me a call. Give me a shot at it. I'm going to come out and give you a price, and I think you're going to like the price, and you're certainly going to like us as painters. And you're going to enjoy your holidays a lot more because you're going to have something you like and a 15% discount. So,
we're going to have you back in again because, we could keep on talking for a long time here.
Frank, it's so true. There's so much more to painting than what you just see at the surface. All right. No pun included, but we could go on for another couple hours.
All right,
and
throw that
enlighten
phone number
the
out there
customers.
one more time.
Sure, 724-553-0937.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you coming in.
I appreciate you so much.
We'll definitely have you back in again so we can talk more painting.
Well, thank you, Beaver County, and I want everybody to have a blessed day.
All right, buddy.
Thank you so much, Frank.
Thank you for listening to the Best of Beaver County. St. Barnabas is pleased to have provided content and sponsorship for the program. Tune in this Sunday at 11:30 for an encore presentation of today's program on Beaver County Radio. And next Thursday at 11 for another edition of the Best of Beaver County on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM.